Pinless was rough, dude. Like, well, the game itself was fun, but like getting ads in the middle of it, there was a solid minute of ads, and I got that 3 separate times. So you're like, okay, so we get to this sector, and then we encounter a Fortnite. No, I don't want to encounter Fortnite. And then I can see people in chat rolling, and I'm like, no, I'm missing it. Did you know that I'm moving across the country in 6 months?
Are you?
We have been in Minnesota. We've been in Minnesota for the last 6 years, and we're finally moving back home to Virginia, which is not across the entire country because we're smack in the middle. However, it is a 2-day drive, and we have a toddler, so we're probably going to need not just a moving van, but like to hire people to do things to move up. So no, I don't spend. My fun money does not include Twitch. That's not a current priority. I'll just be real honest about that.
Yeah, that's a big move.
It was a big move when we came here 6 years ago, and at that point we only had an apartment and it was just the two of us, and a lot of like our friends and stuff did not come with us.
Yeah, I've moved as a single person. Parents, I've moved, in the state, but not like.
Is something coming through stream?
Yeah, all of our voices. We're just sitting here having a conversation, and all that conversation was coming over the music, and our mics aren't in that set, so I'm not sure how that was happening.
Oh.
So,
well, I don't
good
even
evening,
remember
everybody.
what we were talking about.
Welcome to the Random Encounters Guild. I'm assuming it's because I added the Apple Music. I don't know why that would make a difference, but that's the only thing that's different from last time. So, sorry about that, but luckily nothing was said that was embarrassing or incriminating.
I say you're welcome for the sneak peek, everybody.
Some channels do that, They'll have like, if you subscribe at like a higher tier, there's like a pre-show or after show that you have access to.
Yeah.
And can like ask special questions in like a high tier Discord channel that only people with money have access to.
Well, thank you to all of our private pre-show high tier Discord supporters. We greatly appreciate you. The $1,000 a month might seem a little ridiculous, but the value is valueless. So thank you.
Worth it.
That conversation, yes, absolutely.
You really get an insight into all the prep and work that I do. How all these carefully constructed gears fit together like a well-oiled machine.
So, welcome to Random Encounters Guild. We're back with more Blaze in the Dark with the Carrion crew. I think the plan tonight we're going to do downtime again, and then start at least planning the next score. So, before we get in, we can run around and do intros. I am Guildmaster Scott. I run things here at the Random Encounters Guild. If you would like to join us and get in on... No, that's not working again. My entire system is acting up. My links aren't posting. I will fix that and get the links posted. But we run a Discord server where we play a bunch of different role-playing games, and we love having new players and new GMs come in. Scott and Brandon are both new, came in to play Blades with us. And yeah, Jonathan, let me try that real quick after we've gone live. Thanks. I so have missed you. Jonathan has asked if I tried turning it off.
It always helps.
It really does.
That's probably what I should have done before we got everything set up. I probably should have rebooted. It probably would have.
I always restart my computer just before stream.
Oh, well,
It's live and it's
Because
raw.
there's
That's what the
always
people want.
something dumb.
So anyway, that's me. I will get links finished up while we're getting started. Jenna.
Hi, I'm Jenna. I run this game. And I run a tight ship here, as everyone knows. Okay, no, jokes aside though, I am going to brag for just a moment because I run this game, but I also run a solo Starforged campaign on my regular channel, Fem Gamer Party, and I have started writing like a serialized chapters, like novelizing that solo campaign, and the first one published today. So I'm like a published author or whatever. Yep, I'm gonna link it in chat because I'm allowed to do that.
Why didn't I get a notice that it was?
You got an email and you didn't open it, and I know you did because Substack tells me.
I did not get an email
because it comes through. If you have Gmail, you know how Gmail does that thing where it has like promotions and social stuff separately from your main inbox. It comes through in the social one. So I did find that out, but that's fine. I'm not necessarily like trying to send everybody an email, but I am very excited about it. I worked hard on the first chapter. I'm also working hard on later chapters, but like that's my new thing today. I've published a chapter. Also, I'm running this game. Insert vague and fake threats about killing all the players here. Moving on. Okay, other Scott, who are you?
Hi, I'm Scott. I am playing Barnabas Fisher, the Whisper. And yep, I'm new to Blades in the Dark and Random Encounters Guild, but really enjoying what we've got going here. So over to Brandon.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brandon. I am playing Vale the Slide. And as always, I am pumped to get going.
Nice. All right. Well, we're kind of going to get going. We are, as Scott said before, we are doing our downtime stuff. I'm actually really excited about this because in the past when we've done this as a pickup game, we haven't been able to do downtime on stream. It's had to be in the Discord server because the same people who did the previous score are not going to be in the next one. So your downtime would be like, I wasn't there for that. Nothing happens to me. So this is kind of a newer thing for us, which I'm really excited about. We get to throw hooks and complications and things at the players and actually look at what their vices are instead of just kind of waving to it in the distance. This is the part where you really get to find out who you're playing, and then the scores are like the action, but this is like the character building. I love it. So we're gonna start with that. So it's payoff, heat, entanglements, and then your downtime activities. We need to get you a trauma, and I'm gonna go ahead and save that for downtime activities. Let's do the rest of these things first here.
We're doing XP too.
Well, yeah, we could do XP first, I guess, if we want to. But yes, that's all part of it here. Yeah, why not? Let's go ahead and start with XP. Because if anything happens or changes that would affect the rest of things, I would hate to find out after. I'm sure that's probably how the game is supposed to run because it's supposed to be like, haha, you died. But I'm a pushover, so we're gonna do it my way. All right, XP first. First of all, I do remember someone rolled a desperate action. So there was at least 1 XP for that. I do want to remind you guys that I'm horrible at tracking those things, so if you could please track them yourselves, that would be great.
Mhm.
Scott, I don't know that I ever mentioned that to you because you weren't around earlier. But when
Right, but
when you roll a
did-
desperate action, you mark an XP. I need you to do that because I'm not going to remember.
I did mark one from the previous one where I saved Nettle because that was a
Nice.
desperate roll. So I had one the XP and resolve.
We're great. Okay, so you guys go ahead and mark your XPs for whatever your desperate actions were. We're going to do the crew ones and then we can kind of go down the line here. Let's
All
see. At the end of your score, did you execute a successful burglary, espionage, robbery, or sabotage operation?
Hell yeah. We
Yes.
burgled some plans.
Yeah, I think that still counts as a burglary. It was like a second-hand burglary, but you ended up with what you wanted, right?
Possibly even a robbery. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna give your crew an XP for that. Did you contend with?
Maybe slight dabbling in murder by ghost?
I mean, allegedly, that ghost may or may not have done something to someone else, but it's not like you were even in the car at the time.
Nobody saw anything.
We'll see.
Did
Hey,
you
they tried to
contend
rush in and help, but all
with
we were able to
challenges
pull out was
above
the
your
bloody
current
paperwork.
station?
I don't know if who we went against was higher than us. So you don't really know.
They were.
I
But
was about to say they pretty much have to be because we're
I'm
Much.
not going to tell you how high they are because you failed that roll to find any information on them. But you do know that they had a fancy car thing.
That's true.
that she kept note of.
Yeah. I think as long as it wasn't a potted plant, we can probably assume that they were a higher tier than we were.
So yes, you did contend with challenges above your current station. I also want to mention that you guys managed to get through the academy courtyard without being spotted by that airship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what brought that on as a complication, but I mean that could have been fun, to have the
Oh, yeah.
Imperial military after you. So I'm gonna go ahead and say yes
Hey.
on that one. Give you an XP
Okay.
there. Did you bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one?
What's our reputation?
Loud and strange.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fired a gun and
that
summoned
whole
the
business
ghost.
on the bridge and leaping off the edge of it and everything. I mean, yeah, that's
Car chase
Firing
through
a
the
gun at an
wealthiest part.
engine so it explodes while a ghost tears apart someone on a car in a bridge in front of you is loud and strange. That's true. And you haven't gotten to payoff yet, but part of your payoff for this one was you had talked to Jaxabel about getting more of a reputation through her means. So that would kind of make sense anyway. I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to go ahead and give you 1 for that one, I think. Because there will probably be other things happening with Jaxabel that we just haven't gotten yet. And that is maxed out crew advancement right there. Which means you guys get to pick another special ability. But before we do, there's only one question left for the group XP here. Did you express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew? We've kind of been working on what those things are.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to tell you how I feel about it. I want you to tell me how you feel about it.
I don't think not yet. I don't think like I said, I don't think we've established it yet.
Is this part of you establishing it? Is this
think
part
so.
of you like creating?
I mean, one of the main goals of the crew right now is to try and find a way to deal with Nettle, and this job was about that.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if we've quite ruminated enough on this to definitively say, like, yeah, we pulled that thread and made that move. I feel like we're moving in that direction, but this very much
Right.
just felt like a gambit to like get food on the table and get a little bit of cred. And while I think that's an important part of the crew, I don't know if that's really what's driving them or if this was just like, well, yeah, I go to work to pay the bills, but that's not who I am.
Right.
I would agree with that. Okay. So I'm not going to give you that one. It is something to think about, keep in your back pocket, but it kind of doesn't matter at the moment because we can empty this and pick a new special ability.
Hey,
Or I actually haven't looked at it recently. I don't know if you can get a crew upgrade or something instead of a special ability, but like honestly, why wouldn't you want a special ability? So if do you guys have access? Are you all in Roll20? You can see the crew sheet?
we are, yeah.
Okay, so currently you have everyone steals, but there are...
Which lets us add +1 to Prowl, Finesse, and Tinker.
Have you not done that on your character sheet?
No.
Oh yeah, you got to do that.
Oh yeah, I did that. Yeah.
We definitely started that when we moved to being shadows. That was like something that came up in the Discord though, so I would understand if you missed it because there was a lot of back and forth while we tried to figure out if we were going to stay smugglers or switch to shadows. But yes, you can add a dot to Prowl, Finesse, or Tinker.
It's been sleeping inside of you. It's just awakened.
I mean, I've got dots in all three. I've got 2 in Prowl and then 1 in Tinker and Finesse. So maybe I did put it in.
I would think so because you don't normally start with 2 in anything, I don't think. Like just a fresh character sheet without a crew. So that's probably what happened. You probably did it and then forgot. Anyway, so go ahead and look at some of these other ones and see if there's anything that like really speaks to you. The synchronized one sounds exactly like an ability that one of you guys already has on your character sheet to me. Synchronized is perform a group action and you can count multiple 6s from different rolls as a critical success. I think you guys can already do that from someone, can't you?
I think Hawk has something similar about performing group actions. I think he adds a die.
Now,
or something like
if I'm the one that initiates a group action, we all get a bonus
Oh, okay.
die.
It's it's one of the new things in Deep Cuts. That's what it is.
Yeah.
One of the new things in Deep Cuts. So I wouldn't necessarily pick that one because it's just kind of part of the game now. But
kind of like in Pack Rats. Yeah, Pack Rats looks interesting just because of how many people we have in the crew. We'd have stuff all over the place. Slippery sounds interesting.
You are also allowed to take veteran, even just off the bat. So if there is one from a different crew playbook that is interesting to you, you're allowed to do that.
Yeah, we've got a bit to choose from. Would you mind if we just kind of kicked it around?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. Your homework for this evening is think of some ability that you want to have.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I mean, for what we've done historically, I mean, the first thing that sticks out is Ghost Echoes. I know a couple of us can already do that, but if the entire crew could do that, that would be kind of fitting, I think. But
sure.
I'll note it as our number one. It's at the top of the pile right now. I've got a couple suggestions from other playbooks, but I don't want to bog us down.
We can discuss this on Discord and then sort of like announce what we end
Second
up
Story
with.
and Slippery are both good too. I mean,
there's many options. And I'm gonna be very honest here. I'm a rule of cool kind of GM, so if there's like a special like custom thing that you want to make as a special ability, like we can talk about it. I'm down for custom stuff too. There's like even a little plus sign here at the bottom that you can add one onto the character sheet. Like, we can do this. Doesn't bother me. Anyway, so that's crew XP. We're gonna character XP now. So on your character sheet, we're gonna start with new Scott because Barney's just at the top of the list, honestly. Let's see. You mark XP, which, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but they've got the little black bars down on the XP section. That's how you do it.
Yep.
Every time you roll a desperate action, you mark XP. So that's one. Did you address a challenge with knowledge or arcane power?
I would say yes. I summoned a ghost, and I
You
also
threw a ghost at
used-
someone. Yeah, I would. Yeah.
and I also used the ectoplasm vials.
That's true. And that count. I would say that's knowledge. I'm gonna give you 2 for that one because pulling out your arcane vials instead of him using vacuum was probably really good for you guys. Perfect. You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
I don't think that really came into play.
I don't even remember what your background is. So yeah, I would say probably not this time.
He comes from an academic background.
It will come into play later then,
Yeah.
believe me.
Yeah.
But it didn't end up this time.
I don't think it did.
To be fair, I did think we were going to have an academic setup kind of score, and then the engagement roll said
We failed.
differently. It said Fast and the Furious. So you struggled with issues from your vice or traumas during the session. I don't think you have
Which
any
I
traumas
have.
with it.
Yes, I don't have any traumas, and I did not deal with my vice, so
All right, and we'll
2 XP.
2 XP. There you go. All right. See, quick and easy. Who do we have next? There are so many people on my list. First Scott, Alpha Scott, Scott A, Scott 1,
Scott Prime.
Scott Prime.
First of his
The
name.
Alpha and the Omega, Scott. Yeah.
We can have Scott 1 and Scott A. I don't know which one of you is which. Anyway,
That doesn't help.
well, you guys gotta figure it out. If you rolled a desperate action, go ahead and give yourself the XP in that attribute, of course. Did you address a challenge with stealth or evasion?
Yep.
I would say so. I mean, you were the
Yeah,
one
when
driving.
we tried to sneak in
Evasion
and
would be-
And I'm
And
trying to
when
think
you-
that the desperate action I rolled.
I don't remember what it was.
when you were driving, I think it was.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
finesse.
It was probably a
So-
finesse. Because wasn't
So
it when
one
you tried to
there,
like
and
ban them
then
or
one
something?
for another for the second item.
Beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. Now, you did literally drive, but that's not what this means. So if you can give me an argument for it,
Technicality.
I'll hear the argument. But
No, not in that session or in that score. I don't think I really pushed any.
you struggled with issues from your vice or traumas during the session. No, I don't think you did. I'm going to be real with you. If you had stayed in the academy, I probably would have put a coffee pot in the break room. Like, just for fun. But that's okay. So, there we go. That is Scott.
Oh man! And so if you fill up the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you fill up those 6, you get to add a dot in one of the skills, right?
So
Yes.
if you fill up on like insight or prowess or resolve, then you
Yeah.
add a dot in one of those skills. If
I
you
need
fill
one more
up
for
your
prowess.
playbook advancement, that's how you get a new special ability on your playbook.
Okay.
And from what I understand, you can swap them back and forth if you wanted to. Like if you had a couple playbook advancement XPs and you're like, I'm one away from getting a dot in prowess, you can take one from one and put it on the other.
Yeah, it's generally encouraged. There's nothing that says you can't.
But anyway, yeah, so that's you. If you could go ahead and mark your XP on your sheet,
I
and
did.
then where is Vale.
Vale.
Here we go. I found you. All right, you got your desperate actions. Did you address a challenge with deception or influence?
No.
Your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
I did. Vale brought up his background as a Duskfall orphan in reference to the old Duskfall shimmy.
Dustfall Shimmy. I remember. Yep.
I remember that too. That was a good one.
Shame.
As an orphan. Yeah, I'll give you one for that. I love the shimmy. You struggled with issues from your vice or traumas. You don't have a trauma yet, but we're working on it.
Well, technically, I achieved one at the end of it. So it kind of just, so I earned one. I don't know if I get an XP for simply getting one, but yes, I did technically.
So I think technically you don't. If this were a situation where you'd gotten a trauma like partway through the score,
Mm-hmm.
and then it actually affected things, I would give you that. But since it was just kind of like right at the end, as we were sort of closing the curtain, it didn't really affect you this time, but it can totally affect you next time.
Got it.
I don't remember what your vice is. You're a drug addict, right?
He was a former addict. Now I think he's kind of a otherworld addict, and sort of obsessed with that.
Gotcha. So there wasn't anything in this particular score that like addressed that, even though you're looking for information about those things, but you don't know what the information is yet. So
Yeah, I would say no to that then.
all right, not a lot of XP there, but we're getting there. We're working on it. That is the purpose of downtime, is to create a whole bunch more hooks so that you can have way more problems, because problems get you XP. Okay. Payoff is next, I believe. A successful score generates both rep and coin. Did Jexabel tell you about coin, or was it just rep?
Well, 2 coin.
2 coin.
Was the
2
offer.
coin.
Okay. Yeah, because she doesn't. Ink rakes
Yeah.
are not. Ink rakes are not like super loaded. You know.
Yeah, it was 2 coin with the promise of possibly more depending on
Extra
what we
rep.
found.
That was kind of the deal, was that she was going to get you more rep and the coin was going to be lower. So even though 2 coin is for like a minor job and you would normally get 6 or 8 coin for something like this, you're getting less coin but more rep.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to go ahead and put your 2 coin in your vault. I'm going to handle this first, and then you guys can have like a conversation with Jexabel, but like we'll just kind of get through the admin of it, or else
Okay.
I'll get totally sidetracked and we won't come back to things. If your crew is tier 1 and you pull off a successful score against a tier 3 target, you earn 4 rep. 2
Now
rep
this-
plus 2 for a target above you. I'm reading the example in the book because I don't remember rules. I have to learn them new every single time, is basically what it is. You earn
Is this
2
the
rep per score by default. And then if the target of the score is a higher tier than you, you take 1 rep per higher tier. Okay. Here is my question. Do you feel like the target of the score was the Duskfall Academy? Or do you feel like the target of the score was the people that you had to track down?
I think it was the people we were tracking. I think that's really
At the end of it, yeah,
action came.
absolutely.
If anything, they'd taken care of the other faction before we got there.
Okay. I gotta do math.
They're also just kind of
Target
guidelines too.
Higher tier than you take plus 1 rep per higher tier. Are you guys tier 0?
Yes.
You're tier 0. Okay. So they were tier 5.
Oh boy.
Which
No, you know, we go big.
didn't fully come to bear on this one, because you guys actually did pretty well. But you made some new friends. So 5 plus 2 is 7. And I would say that lines up very well with Jexabel promised that you would get some extra rep for this one. So 7 rep sounds like a good extra to me. That sounds like a lot for 1 score, I think.
Yeah.
No, it's currency. You use it, you know?
Yep. You only have 2 left on your rep meter, though. So we're going to need to...
So
I
it means we
don't...
clear it and have 5 more, or...
I don't actually remember where rep goes. I need to... Like, I don't remember what happens to it when you fill it up.
Typically, that means that you are then ready for crew advancement, assuming that
Hey, you
you're
go up a tier.
If
Well,
we can
If
afford
you
it.
have the money for it.
if you've made the other qualifications as well. There's also certain things you can do with rep, like lower heat, and there are uses for the currency that we could use as well.
Gotcha. You have the option to do any of those things. I'm going to leave the rep meter exactly where it is for right now, and we need to just remember that it's 7 more rep than that, and we're going to keep moving. Coin we just did. Heat. Okay. Something about this, I think you guys did a devil's bargain that there was going to be extra heat for something. I remember there was going to be extra heat.
Yeah, the that's what propagated the murder. Was the devil's bargain? Was the ghost went out of control?
Gotcha. Which makes it loud and chaotic, high exposure for heat.
Yup.
Yep.
Add +1 heat for a high profile or well-connected target. Yes. Add +1 heat if the situation happened on hostile turf. Add +1 heat if you're at war with another faction. We're gonna just... That doesn't exist. We're not. Add +2 heat if killing was involved, whether the crew did the killing or not. So that is also 7 heat. 7 rep, 7 heat. Noticing a pattern here. Okay. So where is the dang? Okay, 1.
We only
2,
got 3 spots
3,
open for
and now we got
3.
2. Boop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now you have 2 wanted levels.
No.
I'm kind of psychic, and I feel like you guys might be paying some of that rep to get your wanted level down.
Yeah.
Well, it says the only way to reduce your crew's wanted level is through incarceration.
Yup.
So,
Oh,
you know.
that's not good.
The good news is you guys have like 15 freaking people in your crew, so you're allowed to throw someone else under the bus if you want to.
Give them that jar with nettle in it.
No. I think Peebo Jorts needs to do some jail time.
Yes, jail for Peebo Jorts.
I second that nomination. Peebo goes to jail. And I would love for you to do a solo session with Brett of just him in jail. That would be hilarious.
Look, don't tempt me. All right.
He would milk it. He would milk it for everything it was worth.
Let's go ahead and
Make
do
the
entanglement
Shawshank
first,
Redemption.
and then we can deal with that. So your heat right now is at 4. Equal to their wanted level, 1 through 3. Okay, so we're gonna roll 2. We're gonna roll 2 dice here. Are my dice in front of me? Kind of. These are not.
You can roll it in Discord.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I need 2d6.
5 and a 6.
All right. Show of Force is the one that we got.
It's not great.
What does it mean? A faction with whom you have a negative status makes a play against your holdings. Give them one claim or go to war. If you have no claims, lose one hold instead. Yeah, that's not great.
We have no hold.
We're strong. We have a strong hold right now.
Oh, are we tier 2 strong right now? Or tier 0 strong?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the only
Tier 0 strong. You also the only
we have a
one
loyal
that's affected
fence.
is
Is
loyal
the
fence.
only. Yeah.
So it's up to you. Do you guys want to go down to tier 0 weak and then it will take longer in order for you to advance, or do you want to lose your fence? Or you could go to war with somebody, but I'm going to be honest, that doesn't really feel like it makes sense right now.
Mm-mm.
No, it doesn't. How about we lose our stronghold?
Yeah, what was the option that we could give them?
We lose our loyal fence.
Which, here again, did we get that +2 to coin for burglary and robbery?
Oh, we would get that, right? On top of the 2 coins that we got from.
Oh, I didn't think about it because you weren't going to fence what you like. This was specifically information that's going to a specific person. So I don't know if that fence even comes into play at this point, but it is written as if it's just something you always get.
Yeah, the fiction sort of assumes the characters were
Yeah.
snatching junk as they were going and then handling it off and selling off the assets at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we picked up
Well,
something.
I'm not
like
even
from the
necessarily
academy.
talking about this. I'm talking about last time when we sold all of that stuff. Did we get the
No.
2 extra then? Did we remember that then?
Possibly, I don't remember at this point. I'm not gonna.
Dice has been rolled.
So,
I
but my point with that
don't have a very
is,
good memory.
if we give up the fence, I don't know that we'll miss him that much. I would much rather tear up quicker and
Mhm.
get another fence or get informants. I would rather
Yeah.
I'd rather have informants, if I'm
I
honest.
think the fence was more important to you guys when you were smugglers.
Right.
I think it's the crew is saying, does the fence have a name? Old Fancy. I think it's really like, look, these are tough customers. Is Old Fancy really?
he's got
His name is
Trent.
Spencer Loyal.
Yeah.
Well, our contact is
It's
Trent.
under contacts. His name is Trent.
I
Oh,
say-
there you go.
I say Trent's got to go. Yeah, Trent should have been more careful for what he was doing. We need to look out for ourselves.
Pickett. Jonathan says the name should be Pickett.
Pickett, there you go.
Yeah, yeah,
Pickett.
Trent.
Okay,
Trent.
no, I'm sorry. We're changing his name to Pickett immediately.
Okay, Pickett's got to go.
He's not on the.
Pickett knew
Um.
what they signed up for. It's just part of being in Duskfall.
So
And it's on the
the
character sheet.
yeah. So Pickett was by a rival gang, possibly someone that you have a negative status with. I will look into that, and maybe if you ever care enough to get back to him, you'll find out who it was. But for now, you don't know. Your fence just kind of ghosted you. Bye, Pickett. I love that so much. Jonathan, you deserve a raise. So we lost a thing. Doesn't that suck? All right. I think that's everything, right? And then we move on to your regular downtime activities.
That's correct.
Okay, cool. This is the fun part. So everybody has 2 downtime activities that you can do, or you can spend 1 coin or 1 rep to do additional activities. So we can kind of popcorn this. We don't have to just go one at a time and knock it all out. So if anybody has an idea of something that they want to do first, we can definitely do that. So acquire an asset, long-term project, recover or heal, reduce heat, train, and indulge a vice.
Do we need to deal with Vale's trauma, or
If
part of the
if you want to
downtime,
start
or-
with that, we can totally start with that. Yeah.
I think that's the elephant in the room. Like,
Yeah, we can certainly go there.
Okay. I am not a like registered anybody who can psychoanalyze you, but let's talk trauma. Tell me about your problems and how you're feeling, and also tell me about your relationship with your dad. It's a trick question. You were an orphan.
Yeah, so Vale, Vale spent the last bit of time in a bit of a bender with his dealer. And once he sort of learned about these rips that were happening in space time, and that there was this whole other world, when he was sort of way, way, way deep in it, I think he just saw the tiniest glimpse of the other side. And what he saw there was so horrific and beautiful and wonderful at the same time that the relative comparison of the high just felt like nothing. He just felt empty and vacant. And so that was kind of his onus to return to the crew, was sort of the idea of chasing this. And I think he kind of started by chasing coin and being reckless and really running with it, but I think he's kind of diving into it now. But one of the things that we were chatting about is I think that he really wants to control his life in a way where he can sort of parse out what's really important to him and what's really not important to him. So I think that we're going to take sort of a controlling nature sort of trauma, where he needs to organize the world around him in order to both fit the needs for his crew, and then sort of both be able to control and fit the needs for his addiction at the same time. He realizes that this is a completely diametric ideas, right? Service of self and service of other at the same time, but he's way too much of a hypocrite to admit that. So like a lot of men, rather than going to therapy, he's like, well, I can just control this and run with it. So that's what he's going to go with.
I can fix this.
I can fix this.
I can fix this.
I feel like of all of these, probably obsessed on your character sheet is a good, like, kind of the one to. But I love that for you, that you just need to be in control of everything. I feel that is going to be a really easy one to get some XP with. And also maybe like a sub bullet point below that, being obsessed with this other world kind of fits with what you guys have going on right now. I think that's going to be good.
Cool.
So you took your trauma, so you clear your stress. You don't need to indulge your vice right now.
Well, I have to. Once somebody has a trauma, if you do not indulge your vice, you take stress equal to the level of your trauma. So I can choose to take stress as I'm doing this, or I can choose to indulge, which would force me to overindulge. But we can deal with that as we get down the line.
So it would be overindulge, or just take one stress because you have one trauma.
Yeah, and we'll see which one of those is more fun when we get back to me again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for that. So the Scots, do either of you have your first downtime action kind of in your head?
I do. I'm sitting at 6 stress, which sounds like a perfect opportunity to reduce my stress. So I think I am going to indulge my vice.
I think that you should. There is a nifty little button on your character sheet that you click it. It's right under where your vice is, that says indulge vice, and that'll just throw the dice out there for us so we can see what we got going on here.
What is Marty's vice?
Barney's vice he's also transitioning along with you. He actually spent a lot of time on ships and with sailors, and dicing and gambling is part of being on a ship and playing with dock workers. So he tends to hang out at in Crowsfoot. His purveyor is Spog's Dice Game, which is where he goes to do his vice. But when since he got out of jail and all this has happened, the dice game, the talk at the dice game is about the new sport. that's starting to go around, and he's starting to take an interest in Ragskola, I think it's called,
Mm-hmm.
which is the new sport, that's underground sport that's developing. So he's transitioning to that, but right now he's still dicing.
All right, you want to go ahead and roll, and we'll kind of go from there and see what you got going on.
5.
All right.
Nice.
I mean, so you're down to 1.
I like that.
Yeah, that works. Okay, so if you, we'll say you're transitioning to Ragskola, so you head over to your normal place, but between where you are on the docks and where you're going, you see, as you travel, there is a dark alleyway that has been totally covered in different levels of ropes. It almost looks like sometimes kids' playgrounds have things you can like climb on. Like it's not just one. It is not the same thing as those frat boys on college campuses where they're just like balancing on a tightrope. It's not that. There's like multiple levels of ropes going in multiple different directions. It looks very complicated, and it looks exactly like the sort of thing that sailors would come up with, because knots on ships is like the thing, right?
Yeah, that's what catches my eye, is that like it looks like there's rigging in the alleyway.
That's exactly what it is. And you see there are a couple people on, like, climbing around on the rigging like monkeys. Like, just how are they getting between all of these ropes so quickly without getting hung up on stuff? What is even happening? You kind of stop and watch for a bit and notice that actually some of them have like, or they've got like rags. You know, there's like blue rags on some people and red rags on the other, and you go like, okay, so these are probably like split up into teams, and the so they're running around and they're trying to knock each other off of the rigging with these like leather wrapped batons. So it's not lethal, but like they're beating the crap out of each other trying to knock them off the rope. So this game is basically like who can be the best and most competent sailor is kind of the competition. And this is Ragskola. This is your first interaction with it that you've seen, and it's enamoring, really. It's got all the fighting of hockey with all of the like grace and thrill of like Olympic single person sports. It's got it all, baby. So you can stop and maybe place your bets here instead if you would like.
Absolutely. I start learning the players and the teams, and yeah.
So there are 4 available teams, and at the moment, rather than giving you a specific dealer, I'm gonna let you pick a team that you're like kind of a fanatic about, and then we can go into it later, because this is I gotta make some specific people because this is in the new book.
Yeah.
So for now, we're just gonna pick a team. There's the Alley Cats,
Well,
the Brixton Bruisers, the Iron Lane Hammers, and the Pickett Street Bulls.
Pickett seems to be the name of the day, so I'm going to go with the Pickett Street Bulls.
All right, Pickett Street Bulls. So we can go ahead and put that on your sheet if you want, that you are now a fan of the Pickett Street Bulls. I think because they're bulls, probably their color is red, right? Like that seems like it works for me.
Absolutely.
So you gambling is your thing, but you can tell me if it's the gambling aspect of it or like the getting caught up in the sports team aspect of it. Are you like a huge soccer fanatic sort of situation like they are in Europe? You can figure out if that's what it is or if it's the thrill of you winning more money. That part's on you. But there's your new thing. And I think because you got a 5 that your team wins. Maybe that's how you pick the ones that you like, or maybe there's some friends that you have that are on the team. I don't know. But
a
your
rush.
team wins and you're swept up for a moment in the camaraderie, and maybe you win a little bit of pocket change. With the gambling vice, you do have the opportunity to win like coin, but I think I'm really
It's not
probably gonna
about the
only do
winning
that
for
like
him.
on a
Yeah.
6. Or if you got like exactly what you needed, like if there was some like, ooh, perfect kind of thing, I'd be like, oh, you win some coin. But this time it's the thrill of the chase, not the coin itself.
I think for Barney, he's so he's not antisocial, he's socially awkward that it's the social situation, whether he's dicing or whatever, they don't care who you are.
Hmm.
Or it's about what's going on. So that's the focus for him. He's just more
Oh,
involved.
your vice is feeling loved and included.
There you go.
Same though. Oh, that hurts my heart.
Exactly.
No, I love it. That's great. It's perfect. So congratulations, you're down to 1 stress. That's exactly where you want to be. Scott, do you have an idea of what your first downtime action is going to be? Scott Prime.
I do. That whole business with breaking into a place that was already broken into did not sit well with Edward, and he is going to train on insight. He's gonna I'm not sure how you would train that, but he wants to be sharper and notice. He wants to be able to see things and notice that can't happen again. Like walking into a setup like that is rookie mistake.
Sure.
So I want like I said, I'm not sure how you would train other than just practice. I guess he spends some time, like in the city somewhere, just noticing, just trying to notice details and patterns, and giving some real thought to how things play out. But if you've got a different idea of how that would work,
you could take a couple murder mystery whodunit books with you to the coffee shop and read up on how, even if it's fictional, read up on how other people do it and what other people notice. That could be fun and go along with your vice. That's what I would do personally, just read a bunch of fiction books because I think that's fun. You could head on down to Charter Hall and try and get your hands on some schematics of more buildings that you're like studying to make yourself more familiar with some of the high profile areas in Duskfall and what's around, like architecturally and blueprint wise and map wise and stuff. There's definitely ways to work on that sort of thing. Tinker is also in insight, so you could say like you're practicing your lock picking or practicing like studying how other people do lock picking and looking for those signs of like the kind of signs that other people leave, and maybe you're looking at police reports or news reports or whatever of like previous break-ins that other people had done, and how they left the scene and the kind of stuff that you would look for to tell if someone else has been here. There's all sorts of things you can do,
and that works as well because my second is going to be indulge vice to relieve stress. So yeah, we can say I grab some books and take them to the Five Tone to get a crappy mushroom cappuccino. But so I just mark one spot on insight.
I believe so, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So you have your one XP in insight. So you grabbed some books then, like you picked up some spy thrillers and went and got your coffee. All right. That sounds so cozy. I love that for you.
And if we want to do that while we're here with me, I can just do my indulge vice roll, and then we can go around to the other two.
Is exactly what I was about to say. You head on over to the Five Tone. You got your books. Go ahead and grab your crappy coffee asterisks. And let's see how it goes.
No bonus dice involved.
Unless your character sheet says something, you're just clicking that button that says indulge vice.
4 and 2.
Where are you? I'm gonna put y'all up at the top. That would be smart of me. That's what I'm
Clear an
gonna do.
amount of stress equal to the highest die result.
You have 4 stress and you clear 4 stress, so you clear exactly what you needed.
Nice.
I was worried about overindulging. Honestly, that was a thought on my mind. With only 4, I was thinking there's a chance I
There's a good chance. Yeah.
could be messing up, but I also didn't want to go into the next score with stress. So. So yeah. So I train in insight and relieve stress. And
Perfect.
So the two of us are chilling and relaxing, and Vale's just getting more and more wound up.
As one does. I like to. I'm obviously not able to do it with Rugskuller right now because it's a new thing, so I don't have anything lined up. But what I like to do is kind of give you hooks that you could follow through when you talk to your vice purveyor. Your vice purveyor has already told you that Tommy has already told you that there's someone that might have access to real milk or potentially real coffee beans that he could really like up his coffee game, and you have already kind of decided that that's interesting to you, but you have like very pressing matters, so I'm going to remind you of that but not really give you another one here. But you did get like exactly the amount of stress, like you are perfectly stress-free at the moment. So first off, I hope you enjoyed your books. They sound great. But second, just as like a little treat, is there something that you would like to find out from Tommy that he might know? Like is there a little piece of information that you would like to ask about? I'm not going to give you huge plot points, but just a little treat.
The last time you were there, you introduced him to a gondolier.
yeah. And that was to tie in with the city council job that we need to do. But I will ask him about these women that picked up the vampires in their jars, their clothing, because we studied their clothing, and like we didn't see any distinguishing marks necessarily, but I could describe them to him and see if he knows of anything about that, because I'm still very interested in that.
He kind of confirms what you had already suspected, which is these 2 women look like they are probably higher level hired help for some noble house or some very wealthy faction. They don't look like they are themselves wealthy, but the kind of hired help that will be seen by guests and therefore must dress nicely. Not like you come in the back through the kitchen sort of thing. You did get that from seeing them, but you couldn't really figure anything else out. So he sits down with you for a while, and you guys are kind of going back and forth, and I think there's a while that he's sort of like racking his brain, like, I guess I mean, I'm not really big on like fashion, but like having upper class ladies, I don't know. And the only reason that he would have any of this information, might I add, is because he is right smack on that bridge border between Brightstone and the docks where you guys are. And he eventually says, I mean, I'm not 100% sure, because like it's they didn't have like a thing, it's just kind of clothing, but like maybe look into the Dimmer sisters. They don't really like him that much. So you have a lead from your friend Tommy Fivetone. What does look into the Dimmer sisters mean? That's your problem.
Well, when we tear up the crew and get that informant.
All right. So
That will be his first job.
second Scott and Brandon, you guys each have one left, unless you would like to spend coin to get more downtime actions.
I've got 2 left, but I know how I want to spend them, and I think it's kind of at the same time. But Scott, feel free to go ahead first if you'd like to.
Yeah, you're right. We did your trauma. That's your. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I have a long-term clock that I started last time, which I didn't do anything with yet, and it's trying to deal with Nettle's situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to.
Oh, sorry, we don't have that clock on your. Do you remember what?
Yep. It's on the Twitch.
Yeah, it's in his cam window.
Oh, okay.
But it's not on Roll20 anywhere.
It's not on. Yeah.
You can do a clock on your character sheet though.
Okay, it's an 8.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and make you one. Let's see. Nettles research notes 8-part clock. So now that's on your character sheet too, so we can track it there as well. So you would like to work on your long-term.
Yeah, whether it's going over the notes we just got and what's in them, or whether it's going through Nettle's notes.
So the long-term clock you have is for Nettle's notes. That is separate from the stuff that you just got. I am. We'll handle that stuff in a second because you haven't talked to Jexabel yet either. So okay. I'm gonna set that aside for a bit, and we can figure that out. Let's see. Where is the long-term project? Describe what your character does to advance the project clock and roll one of your actions. And then you mark segments on the clock according to your result. So Nettle's notes, I didn't really describe them before, but
Right.
she, as I said, this scene was very classic Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster, exactly what you think of for pulpy sci-fi horror sort of thing, because we're literally talking about Allie and that's fully her jam. So these notes are all over the place. These are not orderly bullet journal notes. These are scribbled sideways in red pen and circled and crossed into something else with big question marks that say haunted. These are the scribblings of a madwoman, a genius, a crazy genius. Okay, so some of Nettle's notes are mathematical formulas and treaties, and some of Nettle's notes seem to be personal journal entry kind of things, and some of them seem to be coded somehow. Some of them are referencing it looks like possibly books that she had in her private collection library. This is not you just sit down and you read a journal and you tell me what it is. This is you got to get out the red string to connect this crazy to that crazy and find this book and put that upside down and hold it up to a flame.
And I think I would also be spending some time actually going to Constantine and saying what did she mean here? You know?
Yeah, there's all these abbreviations. Yeah. So that's why this is going to take a long time to parse them and put it together into something usable, basically.
So the deep cut rules say for a long-term project, it's an 8-segment clock. When you spend an activity working on it, mark a number of ticks equal to your action rating and add 1 tick if you have a workshop, which we just added. So if I'm guessing I'm using study to try and work through her.
That would make sense to me. Yeah, if that study makes perfect sense to me. So you roll your 2d6, and
it's no longer a roll according to the deep cuts. It's just I add a number of ticks equal to my action rating, which is 2 in study, and I get another.
So you only get 3 ticks?
I only get 3 ticks, no matter what. There's no rolling.
Oh,
Yeah, the deep cuts idea, Jenna, to whether you want us to implement it or not is up to you. Is basically like it's not fun to roll a bunch of dice and be like, I advance 1, right? And that happens a lot. And it's just like, look, you're good at this. You advance it this much, you're done. So that's just kind of the idea that went into it.
Yeah, it depends on which way we want to go with the rules. Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. No, I get that. I think that makes more sense than what I was thinking. But I was thinking in terms of like, gosh, this would take forever for a 12-segment clock, and then I was like, wait a minute, 12-segment clocks are probably supposed to take forever. This is probably my ADHD impatience talking. So yeah, we'll do it that way. You get your 3 segments. You're like a third of the way through these notes you've figured out, because you do have access to her room, her stuff, right? So her books and her notes and her things, and Constantine, her boyfriend. So it'll take you a while, but you do have what you need to do this. So it goes fairly well.
So I mostly spend it on the barge in the new workshop, just poring over these notes.
You can't fully understand yet everything that she's saying, and you're not going to be able to piece together the outcomes of any of that until you get the notes fully finished, because some of this is hypotheses. So it's like, okay, you can write the hypotheses, and then test 1 might say A, but then test 2 says B. So when you get all the way through, you find out which one of those is actually correct. But you can tell so far that these notes, there are parts that mention Henrietta and talk about Henrietta's eyes, and they mention someone called the Oculist.
Okay.
So you're not at a point where you can tell what all that is saying.
Okay, and that's
you're picking
not
up, these words keep coming up.
okay. And just as a player, that isn't anything that was referenced in where they got Henrietta, that job, right?
What you know
That was
about
that was
Henrietta.
before my time.
That was before your time. What you know about Henrietta, because you were totally there, right? Is that Henrietta is some sort of occult something. Your crew has assumed that she's a haunted or possessed doll of some sort. But she has very realistic, lifelike glass human eyes that can come out. And her cat face is removable from the doll and can work as a mask, like a spirit mask.
Didn't know that. Okay.
You guys know that the glass eyes that were in the doll at the moment matched up with the eyes of one of the people in the family portraits in the house that you guys were breaking into.
Right.
You also know that occasionally Henrietta's eyes would move to look at people. She didn't blink. I have to blink to move my eyes. She doesn't have eyelids, but the glass eyes would move to look at different people in the room as if she could see and understand what was happening.
But the Oculus wasn't mentioned in that job.
The Oculist was not mentioned. This is
Right, that was my
Nettle
question.
had been doing a long-term project to find out more about Henrietta.
Gotcha.
So this is new information to you.
That's my second. Yep. I'm done.
You also know that Henrietta does not have eyes right now.
Right.
She didn't when she was on the table and got electrocuted. She doesn't right now. She did have eyes before. This is all very normal Duskfall stuff.
Yes.
So there you go. That's your long-term study.
Okay.
So those are your 2. I think Vale has 2 now. Do you have an idea of what you would like to do?
Yeah. So Barney, you're not alone in the workshop. Vale is in there and he's pacing back and forth over the small space in the Raven's Nest, and you can just kind of hear him muttering to himself, and just sort of whispering and talking. And every once in a while, you hear, "Too many people are watching. Too many people are listening. Too many people are talking. Whispers on whispers." And he's thinking about how because of our actions, a bigger crew is just able to just kind of walk in and take out somebody, right? That's because we're making too much noise. And so he kind of moves one of the tables aside, and with a piece of chalk, he just starts writing on the wall, and he's just sort of making names and connections and crossing it out, and another name and another connection and crossing it out, and he pulls you over, Barney. He's like, it's because if this wasn't here, none of this would matter. And then he kind of goes,
when you turn around to like get Barney's attention, you find him standing awkwardly too close to you, behind you, and you kind of like, oh,
yeah, oh, Barney, thank God you're
looking over your shoulder, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And then so at one point he just kind of stops and he goes, "It's White Crown." And he gets his hat and he says, "I'll be off." And he gets his pipe and he zips out the door. And so he heads over to the bridge next to White Crown. And he's going to start
after you leave. He looks up at the wall and he looks down at Nettle's notes and he's like, "I'm with a bunch of wackos." Just walks back over.
And so Vale makes his way over to the bridge where we kind of caused the incident, and he's kind of talking to himself as he's muttering and he's going along. And Vale is going to be starting a long-term project right now, which is called Fall Guy. Somebody needs to take the fall for the two levels that we have against us right now, which are causing all the problem, in addition to our heat. Our two levels. And so Vale is going to start looking into who sort of mathematically makes the most sense to make this fall. And for Vale, and he wouldn't tell the rest of the crew this could be somebody on the outside, or this could be somebody on the inside as well. It's not going to be him. The math doesn't compute that way, but he'd like to start thinking about and figuring out who is this going to be, and then how can I make this person fall to keep the rest of the crew safe. And so he's going to start that by swaying some of the people around there that were kind of near the scene of the accident, just to kind of get a general sense of who saw what and things like that. So yeah, that'll be part one, and his second action will roll right into that.
Okay. That will be a pretty short clock. I just need to look up one thing. The smallest clock is 4, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
go ahead and make it a 4, because there's actually a perfect fall guy. You just need
Okay.
to find out who it is.
So that
I have
Vale has 2 in sway, so that would be halfway full right now.
Cool. The workshop would not apply for this one because this is social. So yeah, you're almost there.
Okay, and then the second action that Vale is going to do when they are there is to start talking with the people that were in and around there and attempt to reduce the heat that we had as a result of that. And I think that is also going to be a sway and misdirecting what people saw, and a bit of Duskfall gaslighting.
Is that a pun?
Take it on if you want.
Because it really was the other crew that did do the break-in and die. Like,
Yeah,
it was all
and I
them.
heard
Clearly all them.
what I heard is they committed the murder too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what I'm hearing.
So just for my clarification then, you're trying to reduce heat by pinning this whole thing on the gang that had originally broken in that you guys were chasing?
I think Vale is just that's part of it, and I think he's just kind of doing misinformation. Well, I heard there was a third car. I heard it wasn't even a car. I heard that it was a horse, right? And so he's going from place to place to place to place and just planting so much false information that when people start talking with each other, the cops will be asking the wrong people, and there'll be conflicting stories, and hopefully that just moves a little bit of attention away from the crew.
Yeah, perfect. Go ahead and roll. I mean, that sounds like a sway to me, but
Yeah, that's what we go for.
let's see what we got.
I rolled a 6.
Okay. Let's see. Reduce heat. 6, you reduce 3 heat. So let's see where we... I'm looking at Barney's character sheet trying to find the heap. That's not gonna work.
I was looking
That's
at
not gonna work. That's not where
the
we
clue
use.
sheet trying to select my trauma before. I was like, I could have sworn it was right here. Who's Shadows?
Barney's not hot. There's no heat on Barney.
I did
so
notice
now
something
he's-
cool. This is after, just a while ago when we started.
Mhm.
On your character sheet, up at the very top, you'll see it says, what does it say? Character mode.
Mm-hmm.
If you click on that, it goes to crew mode. There's the crew sheet. You like what we already have built isn't there. You have to fill it in, but
But you could keep track.
you
yourself if
can't keep
wanted.
track of it right there on your character sheet instead of having to go back and forth.
Very
Um,
cool.
Action mode there too. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'd never seen that before tonight. So
That is probably so that if we wanted to create new other factions and create new other gangs and crews that we could. You guys are welcome to use those on it. I don't actually know. I will be very clear. I don't actually know if changing that is going to change anything about your character sheet. I'm not sure how
Yeah.
Roll20 does it.
I'm not gonna mess with it.
But you guys do have access to see our fully set up one. And I'm not doing factions in Roll20. I'm doing factions in Notion so that you can't see any of my notes.
and did Vale on that progress clock he started? Did he get any progress or no?
He's got 2 progress.
2 out of 4.
Yeah.
I was busy setting up the clock and I didn't hear where we
Yep.
left.
2 out of 4.
And then so Vale will spend his day going this information, and as he's kind of taking the long walk home, he doesn't realize it, but he's stressing himself out for sort of ignoring this calling that he has that's pulling him towards his obsession, and so he'll take a stress for not indulging his vice as well.
That seems very reasonable to me. We need. I'm missing where in here rep comes in. That's kind of the last thing that I want to look at because you guys have like a mess of rep right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think there's mechanical uses of rep, and then there's also opportunities that arise of rep as well, right? When something really, really big happened as well, like, maybe it's not necessarily the mechanical spending of them that needs to happen in terms of points. Maybe it's opportunity or something like that, just throwing stuff around.
That is also possible. Yeah. So if you guys wanted to exactly what he said, you can kind of spend rep in slightly more narrative ways. Let me pull up your crew sheet again. There are. Well, wait, let me stop. Do you guys have any ideas of what you would like to do with your rep? Because you have more than what currently fits on your thing, it kind of feels like I would like you to handle something now, or else you're just going to lose the rep that doesn't fit.
I would like to tier up. That's just me. We've got plenty of coin. I don't know how much coin it takes to tier up, but
well, again, it depends
got a
on which
bunch of
rules.
it.
They
depends.
changed the rules.
Depends if you're in deep cuts or not. In original Blades in the Dark, I believe it was tier +4, or
tier times 4.
Tier times 4, yeah. With tier 0 acting as tier 1 in that case. It wasn't free. So it would be 4 coin to advance. However, in deep cuts, they want you to have acquired a certain amount of crew assets
Yeah,
first.
there's 3 things you have to have. You have your rep track is full, which we have. Your stronghold is you have a stronghold, which we have, and
Yep.
then you need 6 crew upgrades and 1 cohort, which we have none of.
Well, we have some crew upgrades, right?
Oh, we do have some crew upgrades. That's right. So we have
we have a
3,
boat,
4. We have 4.
We have a workshop, we have the prowess, and this is including the ones that we got for free, but those count.
Right.
So effectively with this, we would need to earn 2 more and a cohort as well. It's in deep cuts,
Right.
it's hard to pull yourself out of that tier 0 hole. So yeah, it's really, which version of it that we're going to kind of go along with.
I wish these crew
What is
sheets
a
had.
cohort? What do you get for that?
Cohorts are like are sort of NPC gang members that can help you out in scores, so you can get basically like cutters equivalent, a couple of tough guy goons who can walk around. You could get some transport guys, you could get some book nerds who could be doing your learnings for you and that kind of stuff, and they can come along with you on your score. You can add them to rolls and stuff like that. You can command them, or you can use them in downtime as well with certain special abilities that were there doing things like reducing heat for you and stuff like that. It's really in the fiction, it's supposed to be like a gang is more than just sort of the Tommy Shelbys, right? To do sort of a Peaky Blinders kind of things. We've got goons who are doing things on the side. The bigger the gang, the greater the goons.
So can we spend rep on that? Can we spend rep on crew upgrades and cohorts, and that way, next time we're available, or it's an option, we can tier up then? Is that how can we spend rep on those?
Not purely according to the rules as I remember them, but
So to get a cohort, you need to basically use an acquire, which is a downtime activity.
however, but we can. So, Jenna, this is kind of a slippery part of the rules, and people tend to kind of be weaselly with it. In theory, you can trade rep for downtime activities, but I think you could see how that could kind of get stupid kind of quickly. But yes, in theory, we could use some of this rep to sort of convert that to downtime to try to acquire a cohort or something like that.
I would not let you do that all the time. Like, rep, narratively speaking, does not 1-for-1 give you more downtime activities. But like you said, in this particular case, since you're trying to acquire a cohort, using rep to do that makes a lot of sense to me. So I think that is completely reasonable.
I think that's a really good idea, Scott.
Let's see. So we can flesh out your cohort later on Discord any farther than we need to, but we're just going to go into right now the options here. So you have adepts, which are scholars, tinkers, occultists, chemists. You have rooks, who are con artists, spies, and socialites. Rovers, sailors, carriage drivers, deathlands, scavengers. Skulks, which are scouts, infiltrators, and thieves. And thugs, killers, brawlers, and roustabouts. So you don't have to remember all of those words, but just amongst yourselves for a moment, what kind of cohort do you think would be helpful? What kind of cohort do you think you guys would be seeking out?
Rook sounds interesting to me, because we're not a very social group. So having a rep that is a social, kind of, that's
People to
their
do your
job, is
whispering.
to be the face.
Yeah. Vale could help with that. Vale is a slide, so he's technically a spy. So he's got disguise kits and stuff like that, but that's just one.
Doctors are always a good thing to have.
Yep. That would be creating an expert, which is kind of like creating a cohort. Yeah, I would say I think that the rooks are cool. Thugs it's always nice just to have a couple of tough dudes around. For those sorts of things, and that is also something that we're lacking as well. I don't think there's a single point of skirmish in this crew right now of the people who are playing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we need Carver.
Benny's the tough
I've
guy,
got-
and he.
Oh, you've got a skirmish? Okay, cool.
I
Uh.
believe I do. Yeah, I've got one.
Scott, what about you? Any preference on those?
No. Yeah, no. Having a thug. If Carver's not going to be around, having that muscle is going to be important. And like I said, otherwise, having a healer is always an important aspect too.
I
Yeah.
want to say that I thought that you had a healer on your. Yep. So your turf, like your lair thing here that you can get. One of them is infirmary.
Yeah.
So that's like a turf you can get is like a doctor's office or vet's office or
Gotcha.
mobile blood drive vehicle, like Band-Aid
Yeah.
factory, whatever.
Scott, I would have said if we weren't using the deep cut healing rules, I would say absolutely we need to focus on it. Like harm would just destroy your characters, but since it's a little more forgiving right now, we'd probably be okay.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and give you guys some rooks.
Rooks.
Yeah. We got your cohort there, and we'll go through and figure out details about your rooks later. There's like flaws and edges and whatever, and we can do that part on Discord, so we can really like go back and forth on it. I'm not worried about that at the moment because it involves a lot of reading, and I'm chickening out.
I'd also be fine if we just basically said all that bonus rep, it just got translated into that, and we don't have to worry about the math on that either.
Perfect. That works because that involves me not having to like score through this book, which there's 2 of them now, and that's a lot. So your rep stays exactly the way it was because we didn't add the 7 before, so you guys are, we'll call it even. That last or possibly second to last thing, Jexabel, I mean, do you guys give her the information that you got for her? Or?
Yeah, Barney definitely wants to copy it first for his own notes and to see what's going on. But
so you guys
absolutely provide Jezebel a copy.
The originals, yeah.
The originals.
Okay, so you're at least like looking through and taking your own notes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're meticulously copying every single line, everything, making inferences and notes, and yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
It sounds like something that Vale and Barney would be doing together since Vale's interested in the riffs.
So this this is free play. I'm not going to call this part of a downtime activity. These notes are in, for the sake of ease, English, Common, whatever language that you guys speak. It's not something crazy.
Small.
It's not like a cipher or anything, but it is. You have taken notes from like a head research professor at a very prestigious academic academy. Academic academy sounds so dumb. I can't believe it just said that. University. And I don't know if any of your characters are really like college graduates or ever like read or synthesized information at a collegiate level, but the language and the verbiage and the sentence structure is very different than normal language. So you are totally able to like write stuff down, but I would like some kind of roll just to see if you guys can really like parse what it is that you're looking at.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Vale would be happy to try to study it.
As would Barney. Yeah.
So if you guys want to do like a group thing or a help thing or whatever, this is just like for my own personal information. There's not a it's not like, oh, you roll a 1 so the book spontaneously combusts and now there's nothing. Like that's not going to happen.
Right. Just the level of what we're able to glean out of it.
Yeah. And then
you'd
question.
also mention, Jenna, that there was like some blood splattered on the original as well as part of it, which was making it a little hard to see.
Yes, I was gonna ask. I don't remember if we took that devil's bargain or not. So we did take that devil's bargain. Okay.
Yeah, we took it.
Okay, perfect. So some of the things are going to be a little bit obscured, but yeah, you guys decide like if you're studying together, if it's a
I have a
group
2 in
activity.
study. What do you have?
I just have a 1. Yeah, I don't think I'll
Yeah.
be mechanically supporting, but I think I'm, in the corner, kind of doing the shoulder rubs and saying, no, that
At least
Yeah.
helping transcribe, right? Even if you don't know what the words are, you can still write the letters. Yeah,
Mhm.
perfect. Okay.
Okay.
So Barney, go ahead and give me a study roll. Let me just see what we're working with here.
No bonus die. Did workshop give me a bonus die for this, or no?
I don't think so because you're just reading it. There isn't any.
Okay.
More tinkery kind of stuff.
So,
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah. Not good.
It's a lot of blood.
Okay.
It's a lot of blood.
You are
rolled a 2,
able
yeah.
to work out that this is probably what Jexabel is looking for. But if you wanted to really be able to read and understand it, we would need to start another long-term clock for you. I will let you guys copy the information. We'll say that's possible. I will hand wave that. So that can be like a long-term project clock for you guys if you want. But just reading it right now, I'm not going to spill any beans.
Okay.
Sounds good. Very fair.
So, do you summon Jexabel, or meet her at an undisclosed location is also fine. But she knows where you guys live, so she shows up at your house, and she goes, "I heard there was a car chase." A car chase?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Such dangerous new contraptions. They really need to be regulated.
They tend to blow up. Those engines are unreliable and they'll randomly explode.
Truly unstable technology.
Quite frightening.
Noted. Yes. I will endeavor to stay away from them, then. Okay. Were you successful in your endeavors?
As promised.
Lovely. You see at this point she almost kind of facade of being very cool and competent and nonchalant sort of breaks for a moment as you hand her this, and she just completely stops paying attention to all of you and just grabs the papers and is just poring over them at your workshop table. She doesn't yes, thank you, I will peruse it. She sits down right there and picks up someone else's mug of tea and is looking through them and muttering to herself. And you damn it.
I lean over to Hawk and I'm like, is that what I look like when I do that?
And this goes on for a little bit before she kind of remembers where she is and regains her composure and is and puts all of this into sort of her briefcase. And it was lovely doing business with you, and I will you at the very least will see a opinion piece about how cars are so dangerous, and the rich people that are obviously the only ones that have them should not even be allowed to have them, or possibly they need to be regulated. Those rich people.
Speaking of that, there's a matter of coin.
Yes, of course. And she pulls out a coin purse. It looks pretty nice, actually, and pulls 2 coins out and just hands them straight to you. No humming or hawing. She doesn't even seem to think about it. While you were there, you have the notes. Did you see anyone? Was there any?
For fear of,
Jexabel,
like,
did you offer this job to another provider?
No,
Double up?
no, I did not. I'm not the only one interested in this information. I'm not even the only reporter interested in this information. I was just hoping that I would get there first. And on that note, by the way, I would like to thank you for not getting there first, but getting there better, at least. You've helped me quite a great deal. She flips out, she has a notebook, like a little pocket flip top notebook with like the yellow pages. Yes, actually, now that on that subject, tell me tell me everything you know about these other people that I'm very interested to look into this as well. And she's like waiting to take notes, to take your statement on who it was.
Yeah, Vale puts her notebook down and slides it over to the side, and says, "We will provide you the details of what was been in there, and as a favor to us as friends, looking into the other parties involved would be much appreciated for everybody here. I think you would agree."
Yes, of course. Scott, you're making a face like you don't believe her. You're welcome to say something or make a roll about it.
I mean, he's gonna say something, but it'll be the parting shot. It'll be when we leave.
Okay. Well, she picks the notebook back up. Yes, I fully understand that. However, I can't do my job unless you give me the information I need. And do you tell her about? She's gonna go investigate too, but you're eyewitnesses about this other crew.
I don't think that we have anything necessarily to hide, in that she knew that we were going there, and she knew that there was another gang that was associated with it. We don't have any information on the gang whatsoever, right? I mean, a vague description. So I would be comfortable giving her that information so that she can begin investigating it.
Excellent. Yes, I will. This is my top priority after all. If you find anything else, if you hear anything else, I am always available.
Keep us informed.
And she sort of like stares past you for a moment, and you can see she's sort of trying to decide if she's going to say, "This would be a very important story in my career. It would be a groundbreaking moment for any reporter, but I will also admit that I have a personal stake in these things. So, yes, come to me. And if you don't, I'll have a personal stake in being mad at you."
Much understand. Appreciate it as always.
Jexabel, these people were very skilled in getting in and disabling the people in the university. Be careful.
Yes, of course. So she leaves. The one thing I want to do before we end, because we are at time, is do we have an idea of what kind of score or something that you would like to do next time?
Well, Hawk had something he wanted to end that scene with.
We need to.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get on that city council job.
Yeah, that's where I think we would be focusing on next, because that's got a time limit on it.
Oh, did you want to ask Jezebel about that?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, when she gets up to leave, like she gathers her stuff and gets up, and I see like the three of us are still sitting there, and he'll stop her. He'll say, "Jezebel, should you ask for our help and services again. And there's another group there when we get there. The next Raven you see will be Carver. I need you to remember that.
You're
You
so
sent us
cute.
you sent us in there without warning. And
Please, I
could have
don't know
walked
what every
into-
group in this city is going to do.
I'm telling you, if it happens again, Carver.
Vale slams a gun down on the table, pointed at her, and just moves away from it, his emphasis.
You're adorable, all of you. As I said, that was not my fault, and I didn't know it was going to happen. Why on earth would I send someone else after my own crew?
Why indeed?
Especially as you said that they had gotten out flawlessly. I would have just caused trouble for myself.
I'm just letting you know.
That's fine. It's very
If
cute
you
that
knew
think
that other
of
people
me.
were after this
sweet.
information, that is information that we should have had.
Well, then
That's all
let
I'm
me
saying.
reiterate. Every faction in the city wants to know what's going on with these rifts. Everyone.
Okay,
Now you know.
I do.
Toodaloo.
Bye-bye. And
Okay.
sips his cappuccino.
Perfect.
And that's where we're going to shut it down. Because I've got a wife out there that's ready to go to bed.
Yep.
Yeah,
So, but we will go after the
the Charter Hall
Charter Hall,
Catacombs.
City Hall.
Yep, that'll be the next one.
Right on.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to do a raid this evening since we're already kind of running late. The Lollygaggers are going right now. If you're interested in going and jumping into their game, Live from the Apocalypse is also streaming at the moment. So,
I'm gonna hop out of this and go actually see my husband today. So it's really up to you. But
no, I'm just going to shut it down. But thank you for joining us and the excellent naming assistance that we were given from Jonathan. Jonathan excels in puns and ironic irony. So he's always a good one to have around. What does I know do you Brandon and Scott, do you guys have anything going that anybody would need to know about?
Blades in the Dark, Monday night here.
You're really interested in project management in university labs and higher academia, come down to Washington, D.C. to the Walter Washington Convention Center, and I will be lecturing on all the benefits of OKRs, KPIs, and project management structures. And you can come and see me there.
That sounds like a hell of a score.
project management structure is actually really important, but it is not within the scope of this game. I run a solo Starforged campaign on Thursdays at the same time as this game on Fem Gamer Party, and also I've novelized it, and you can find, yeah, there you go. So that's the Twitch, and I just linked the Substack, which the chapter 1 I published today. So there you go. That's me. That's that.
And I have started a solo game myself. It is called Kinless. It is a Morkborg hack. It is a Viking solo Viking game. We started it last night. We had a great time. Several people in chat that we were rolling back and forth with each other. Chat was making a lot of the rolls for me. So it was very, I was kind of intimidated by it. I've been putting it off for forever because I was kind of intimidated by it, but we had a blast. It was a great time. That will be Sunday night at 7:30 Central here on the Random Encounters Guild. And then, of course, all of this, whenever we stream something, it will be up on the YouTube channel next day. And as I said earlier, if you would like to jump in and play some games with us, you're can always feel free to join us on our Discord server. Everybody's welcome. It's a very good group. And we're excited to get some new games going over the next several weeks. We're probably going to have an Alien game starting up after Christmas. Um, so yeah, that's it for us this evening. We will see you next week. I'll see you here Sunday night for Kinless, and then we'll be here a week from tonight for more Blades in the Dark.
Okay, good night,
Good
Good night,
everybody.
everybody. All right. All right, so we'll roll the rest of the stuff into. I know you gotta go, so we'll roll the rest of the stuff into the Discord.
Yeah, just kind of figure out. It's the cohort bits. I mean, not that it's not important, but it's not mission critical, so we can just kind of figure it out between now and next time.
Sure.
All good. And then, yes, sorry, if